I'm so nervous. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by the amazing Alicia Marie Body. I have been a huge fan of Alicia, of your work for such a long time because you are like a top tier titan of the cosplay industry, and I've seen you just like do be so amazing and everything. So it's like, oh, it's
Oh my
so
God.
cool. And little did I know one day I'd be
Thank
like
you.
homies with you, like. So it's like so cool. And
Doing weird things together on Saturday
I
nights.
know,
Okay, that
right?
came out really
Exactly, yeah.
weird.
Yep. You're my robot homie, and then I'm your like raider, like bud, like, probably underling. Yeah. So it's, anyways. Okay. So I know and love you with all my heart and soul, but could you please take a moment to introduce everyone who you are, what your brand is, and everything?
Okay, I'm gonna attempt right now to fix my. There it is. Better. I was blurry for a minute. I was like, wait, I needed like full resolution on my Jesse Spano hair today. Okay.
Right.
Okay, everybody. I'm Alicia Marie, and on socials, I'm Alicia Marie Body, and I'm a costume concept artist, cosplayer, and fitness pro, which is why my social name is Alicia Marie Body, because I used to do, like, way back in the day, I used to do a lot more fitness stuff. Like, I had like fitness
Yeah.
camps and stuff like that, and I used to write for fitness magazines and fitness publications, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
they're like fitness and kind of, for me, fitness and I'll say geekdom
Yeah.
have always been connected for me, because it's
Yeah.
kind of how I started. One was existed before I started the other one. And I
Yeah.
kind of started getting into fitness because I wanted to look like She-Hulk and Wonder Woman and how they were drawn in comic books.
Yeah.
So for me, so when you brought up like my brand, sort of,
Yeah.
that's sort of why. And now that being I guess a super geek is sort of
Socially
the
acceptable and everything.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, but it was never, that is new.
Mm-hmm.
It was never previously like this at all.
Yeah.
I was considered embarrassing. And you guys know that. I mean, you probably had the same problem.
Oh, for
I
sure.
was
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Birds of a feather for sure. So, could
Hmm.
you actually take a moment to explain your origin story, not only in like how you became a geek and everything like that, but also like fitness, like what motivated you? Like, did someone introduce you to the world and like art of fitness, or was it more so of like, I'm gonna go ahead and partake in this myself and learn everything?
Okay, cool. The origin story. Everyone's probably like, whatever, Alicia. But I am. When I was like in fourth grade, I discovered comic books in fourth grade.
Yeah.
It wasn't really like a. For some reason, it just wasn't a girly thing. So
Yeah.
I didn't really know comic books until I found some at my older male cousin's house under his bed, along with a bunch of other magazines that I don't really want to talk about right now in this interview. When I
Anime
think about it, I was
magazines,
like,
right? Yeah.
yeah, they were like,
Yeah. Shonen
car
Jump.
travel
Yeah.
magazines.
Yeah.
But I was like, what are these? And I remember that was the first time I ever saw
Yeah.
like a comic book in my hand, and I remember seeing how the females were drawn and
Yeah.
being like, can people look like that? And that's when I discovered like Gabby Reese, the volleyball player,
Yeah.
and how she looks like a superhero. And I was like, I
Yeah.
want to look like that. Whatever these people are doing, I want to do that. And I remember I ripped her cover off Self magazine like in fifth grade and stuck it to my wall,
Yeah.
because she looked like a human that looked like Wonder
A
Woman to me.
superhero. Yeah. Like a,
Yeah. And
yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna start like lifting weights. And my mom got me a little set of weights in fourth grade. They were
Oh,
like
they're
2 pounds.
supportive. Yeah.
Yeah, from like a tag sale.
Yeah.
And I was like going like this.
I'm doing
And
it.
that's
Wonder
how
Woman
like I
tomorrow.
started
Yeah.
fitness. Yeah.
Dang, that's so cool.
But geek, like cosplay, it's
Yeah.
weird. I started entering like costume contests when I was like in high school for fun. And that was a lot of styling. Like that was what we would probably call closet cosplay today.
Yeah.
You know? Like I would throw together like Disney's Pocahontas and I would enter a costume contest and then I would like win and I'd be like, oh, maybe I have a knack for this sort of thing.
Little did
And
she
then
know. Yeah.
oh my gosh. Now it's a thing and it's okay and people don't call me embarrassing online, so that's okay.
Oh my gosh, it's all right. We're all here. We stay true to our passions and we're thriving because of it. So it's all good. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, because it's not just that you like are successful in cosplay. You're also an accomplished like fitness instructor and model and an author as well and everything. You're just a jack of all trades, and it's amazing that you've lived like so many lives. That you're just so, oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. It's so cool.
It's because I'm Nostradamus. That's
Exactly.
why.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
15 lives, 1,500 years
Exactly.
old, 15 lives.
That's amazing. And then okay,
It's been really fun. Like I consider myself like super curious.
yeah.
Right? And I'm sure you're the same way. Like people who are just
Yeah.
really curious about things. So like if I see people anywhere, I don't care who they are, and they look like they're having fun doing something,
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to do whatever that is. I want to learn. And then
Yeah.
sometimes I try something and I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me. But then other times I try something and I'm like, oh, it fits.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful because I feel like because you've said before in your posts and everything that you have ADHD, is that correct? Like or ADD or anything? You're just like super yeah. Yeah, so like same with me, but I feel like the difference is the amount of like self-esteem or confidence and where that roots from because like whereas like we might have both a situation where it's like I want to do that, but then a lot of people including myself will be like, oh, they probably won't accept me into their group or whatever, when you're like, yo, I'm gonna show up and just like no matter what, let's see, yeah, let's check it out. And because of that you've explored so many different like fandoms and like learned so much stuff, and it's beautiful, because your curiosity has been such a benefit. It's amazing. And
seriously, curiosity and like bouncing off what you were saying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with D&D. I started playing January of last year, so it was right before
it's recent. Yeah.
the Scholastic hit.
Yeah.
Right before the whole
The
panoramic
great pause.
hit.
Yeah.
I started playing before everything did.
Yeah.
But it took me 7 years to get there.
Yeah.
Like I used to watch people play. Like I watched like Satine. I've watched her play for years. Christine Ariel. I've been trying
in the same circles for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and they used to be like, "Why don't you play?" And I used to be like, I mean, it was it's my hearing.
Yeah.
And two, it was just like you said, like you're like, what if people were like, yo, I hate her, go away. And like I think a lot of people constantly struggle with the, oh my God, I suck. People hate my characters.
Yeah.
People are going to hate me. I'm not going to do it right. And then you beat yourself up, like you chew yourself up.
Yeah, and I feel like for people like us who have like, I call ourselves hyper creatives, because we just can't stop like creating or doing things, But it's good and bad because our highs are super crazy high, but then our lows are abysmally low.
Yes.
So yeah,
it's like a valley of death. Mm-hmm. Like I will literally, Brianna, Utah, my cosplay, like Utah, we literally would stay up till like 4 a.m. talking about character development and ooh, you know what my character, we're like dying, falling asleep, cosplay, wigs off, makeup off, we're like, ooh, you know what I'm gonna do with my character, blah, blah. And then we'll also connect on the whole, I'm a piece of crap.
No one loves me.
Everyone
exactly.
hates me. Mm-hmm. Everyone hates my characters.
Yeah.
And I find out in doing this that a lot of creatives are like this. And
yeah,
a lot of people
it's
who play
normal.
D&D are like
it's
this.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a beautiful truth, that like we're only human. We have our good days and we have our bad days, and just because we have our bad days doesn't make us any lesser of a person, So it's also understanding like that we think differently than a lot of other people because we have like we have a lot of attention. Before it would be like, oh, they're so flighty, they're like dumb because they can't concentrate, but that's not true. We're very smart. It's just that we concentrate on the thing in front of us, and then like we can do 5 things at once or whatever, and like there's goods and bads of it. But this is a perfect segue to the next question. As a content creator, we can often find ourselves working beyond our limits and ultimately burning out. What are your own like self-care techniques to ensure that you are taking care of your mental health and that you try your best to avoid the breakdowns and everything?
What a good question. I think, and this is why it's such a good question, because social media, and I blame social media, is one of those things that's been like the greatest thing to happen to us, but also at the same time, it's done a lot of weird damage to other areas of life. Social media pushes the whole hustle hard culture and mentality. Like constantly be doing, constantly be making, be first, do it first, make it best. You're the best, be first, do more. So everybody constantly scrolls through social media, torturing themselves that they're not doing everything that person is doing. And oh my God, this person has time to do this, and this, and 15 different platforms and manages. How come I can't do that? What's wrong with me? And then it ends up, sort of destroying your self-esteem and like, we're doing a huge number on your self-confidence, and
Mm-hmm.
everything. That hustle culture, I
Yep.
think, is done. I think the pandemic did that to away with
Yeah,
that.
because
People are more about, yo, take care of this, because if this is messed up, you're not gonna be able
then
to do
nothing is gonna
anything.
exactly, yeah, because and I think that's like double for us in the cosplay realm, because we had the convention hustle, that WonderCon, Anime Expo, like all of the big major conventions that cost money. First off, second, like we have to travel there and then shuffle our way through all the crowds and like stop for pictures and do all this kind of stuff, and then like make the next cosplay and then go to the next convention, and just like nonstop. So the convention and like everything,
Non-stop.
yeah, that like everything's coming to a pause is like, I don't know about you, but for me, I had like a definitely a breakdown where I was like, oh man, if I can't go to conventions, how is my brain going to exist? Like, how do where do I go from here? I am conventions, like that's what I do. So like, and now I'm grateful for this pause, because it introduced me to so many other things, like Dungeons and Dragons, for example, and like a bunch of other like really awesome things. Like it's
Yeah,
it's been
that's
wild.
what
Yeah.
I totally agree. And I mean, my hearing is it's a whole nother
Yeah.
thing. But I have to credit the whole shutdown with allowing me to just focus
Yeah.
on getting into D&D and seeing how much fun I'm having with RPGs and meeting new people in the RPG community
Yeah.
has been. I honestly don't think if we hadn't had the pandemic that I would have been able to dedicate this much time to it.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
would have been bouncing around from convention appearances and stuff, so I would have been
Mm-hmm.
sort of maybe one toe in RPG world instead of being like I am now, which is like all in.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's been a thing where I think a lot of people are reevaluating their lives
Yeah.
right now, and they're sort of redefining what they want to do with their life and how they want to live it.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of important. And I
Very.
love
Yeah.
that I'm seeing so much pushback against that hustle hard mentality that we had
Oh
before.
yeah,
That
for
was
sure.
killing people.
Mm-hmm.
It was killing people.
Yeah.
Like, too much.
It's for sure. Yeah, because it's like, it's also like the social aspect as well, where like you might meet groups of people that are like frenemies or kind of like weird people that are kind of in your lives, and it's not healthy, but you have to see them because you're in the same social circles when you go to conventions, and now that's no longer a thing. Like now you interact with people who you want to, and it's like a great, it's great, to
Yeah.
have this freedom. So it's
It's definitely a change.
yeah.
And even though like we all hate it because we're all super used to being around each other and like, rolling up at conventions like, yo, oh shit. Like, oh my God, look what's hanging on my wall. My pants from last night are hanging
That's
from my
funny. So for context, last night we did Vault 42, which is a Fallout,
Yes.
tabletop RPG for Fail 42, and she has this like beautiful one piece that she wears to represent her like robot character. her synth.
Roboticness.
Yeah, so it's awesome, but she was like, "Man, this is so uncomfortable." And then she goes, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead." And we're on our break, like our mid-show break, and she's like, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna snip this in half, and I'm gonna wear my sweatpants, like so super comfortable sweatpants." And she did it. Like that's so like I love that mentality of like I know a solution, I'm gonna go for it really quickly, and you benefit from it. So it's like, oh, it's so good. It's so amazing.
So much better wearing sweatpants with the top. I just got it was like a cat suit cosplay thing.
Yeah.
And I just cut the legs off and now I'm so much more comfortable.
It's-
and y'all don't see my pants or legs anyway. So
Exactly, yeah. It's quarantine time. No, the bottom half doesn't matter. All that matters is shirt up. So it's good.
all that matters.
It's
Are
amazing.
you having fun being pawn so far?
I am actually. It's been nice because I've always been the dungeon master and never the player. So getting to be a player in different RPGs is like a beautiful experience. And I'm always so nervous, because I'm like I'm a good storyteller and like can do a Dungeons and Dragons, but can I be a player? And it's like, oh, I guess I can. And it's like it's fun, I get to hang out with everyone and chill out. It's been so good for my soul. Like it's been like nice to be able to just chill out with friends and have a good time. So like I appreciate it tremendously. And
You've done really good. Like another thing me and Brianna were talking about. We were always talking about everything, but Brianna and I were talking about. Oh, sorry, it's time. Let's say it right. We were talking about how you literally when you have a whole campaign that's been playing out over multiple episodes. Not talking about a 1, 2, 3 shot. I'm talking 15 episodes in.
Yeah.
And we're hitting a point in the story where a bunch of things are coming to a head all at the same time.
Yeah.
You had to come in as a
You're
new
like,
player,
hey guys.
right?
Yeah.
That's really hard. So we were sort of saying how it's amazing how you literally just jumped in because that's a really scary moment to like jump into any
Yeah.
big campaign or game. You're like, you're like, hey, and then things are blowing up behind you. Like, well, okay, here we are.
I
But you're like
know.
seamless, eating your sugar pops, your
It's
fanny pack.
it's easier like and this is a real talk, you know. Utahime and I are good friends, and which is funny because I've never met the woman in person. Like maybe we've been in the same room at a convention sometime, but we've never met in person. But yet she has had such a big impact on my life to the point where as long as she's involved in a project that I'm new to, I feel comfortable. Like that's my like safety blanket for right now, you know, because I know she's my homie, she's got my back, and because of that one thing I can perform like much better and everything. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I do owe a lot of it to her because I know that in past events, if there's ever an issue, I can bounce off her and she'll bounce off me, and it's like cool. So that helped tremendously. But it's been fun because now it feels like just playing with friends, especially the Fallout or the Vault 42 like cast, because everyone's friends. So like I am so down for that, and it's like so good, and I'm just grateful people laughed at my jokes because I literally when I was like you're gonna be a member of the cast, I'm like all right, time to think of jokes, and you played on Tales of Zadia, so you know I'm like filled of like cheesy jokes, like dad jokes. So it's like
You know what made me happy though? The other day we were talking and you said how you keep like running lists for all your characters, like
yeah,
what they might be thinking at a certain point, what they might, oh, you know what, this character might be doing
yeah,
this. And that made me feel better because I do that all the time. Like
yeah.
I'll be in the shower and I'll be like, you know what she has? And then I'll just add it to like the notebook
Yeah.
or the list where she has. I'll be like, this what she. Oh, that's right. So it made me feel less like I'm a crazy person and constantly thinking about like
ADHD.
Hey, character development. I'm
I
like,
know.
oh, and I'll be like practicing voices in like the shower.
Oh,
and my husband
same.
comes in and he's like, this. Who are you talking to? And I'm
Yeah.
like, myself, obviously.
That's the same thing. Like that happens to me all the time because when me and my fiance like met, we would like, you know, and she'd come over to my apartment and I'd be like in creative mode. I talk to myself a lot. So she's like, "Are you talking to anyone?" I'm like, "No, I'm talking to myself." And it's like so normal for me when she looks at me like a crazy person. And I'm like, "Oh God!" But I now know that it's normalized amongst other people who have ADHD. So it's like whatever.
It is. The talking to yourself thing is. I mean, they said it's largely ADHD because of
Yeah.
it's some sort of it's how we collect thoughts or something.
Yeah.
So I don't feel as bad, but I will get into it, and he'll be like, "Who are you yelling at?" I'm like, "Myself." Hello.
Yep. And it's oh man, it's amazing. Okay, so
Wait, when did you start playing RPGs in general?
for me, my experience with tabletop RPGs happened in 2008. All my life, I had tons of social anxiety and everything. Like, always thought less of myself. Couldn't really like look at anyone in the eye or anything like that. And then finally, I wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons for so long that when 4th edition came out for Dungeons and Dragons, I was like, I don't care what's happening. I'm taking my whole like because I was a grocery courtesy clerk at a grocery store, so I took my whole entire paycheck and spent it on the Dungeon Master's Guide, Monster Manual, and Player's Handbook for 4th edition. And I was like, I'm going to learn this and I'm going to play it, even if I have to do it myself. So then got the books, studied it all, and then like played some janky games with my friends. But I was the only Dungeon Master available, so they like kept playing with me, and I got better because of it. And then people started going like, I love your storytelling. It's like you match drama with humor so well in X, Y, and Z. And I was like, really? And I was like, because it was the first time in my life that someone actually said like, you're good at this. Like that was the only thing. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm a good, like, I guess I like this. So then it just like kept going, and I like was forever the Dungeon Master after that. But thankfully I stuck with it because it's benefited a lot. Like everyone has fun in my game, so I'm grateful for that. So it's
you have a knack for storytelling and for like you said, inserting the humor in, and I think that's the tough balance with being a DM. Like you want to have you know the pull in moments where there's you know a little bit of drama.
Yeah.
But you also want those like you know light in the moment
beats.
moves.
Yeah,
that just make everybody
exactly.
go, ah!
Yeah.
You know. Sorry, I like you have a good balance going. So
I always try
found your home.
I know. I always try to make my adventures like an episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog, where it's like obviously something scary and terrifying, but then like funny afterwards and everything like that. So it's like it's good stuff.
Like Marvel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Movie.
It was so good. Okay, so
You know what I mean?
I know that you've accomplished so much in your career, but there also has to have been some L's during these like years of hard work and dedication, everything like that. Now, the first person I ever interviewed was a very brilliant woman by the name of Eliana Murillo, and she said, L's no longer stand for losses, they stand for lessons. So in your opinion, what would you consider to be one of the biggest L's in your life/career that you learned the most from, but it was such a hard moment where there was a time where you're like, I have my shit together, everything's going well, and then something still broke down and didn't work out, or if it was just a big oh, I messed up in this moment. And go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, you know what? Without being too much of a downer, I mean, I think I'm one of those people that I try to be very like a positive person.
Yeah.
And it's because I've been through so much garbage in my life that I really want people to just enjoy life because, oh gosh, we are only here for like a speck of time. We're here for this. So it's like, do not spend your life doing things you hate,
Dreary
around
and
people
misery.
you hate,
Yeah.
with things you hate, because you will regret it. You'll be 80 years old and going, you know, why didn't I go do that? Why didn't I? So I'm one of those people that's like, you live your life how you want, doing the things as long as it's illegal and you're not hurting anybody else. Live your freaking life because that's all you have.
Preach.
So that's why I tend to be the person that's very much like I'm a big sort of evangelist with creative efforts, and I'll always support my friends. I'll go and I'll subscribe to their channels and I'll, you know, do their Kickstarters because I want to see people, because I have the ability to, and I want to see people doing and being and living, and that's what I think makes life so rich for me, seeing people do things, because I'm largely inspired by seeing people do things. Which is why the shutdown was scary for me. Thank God for social media. I'm able to actually
keep in touch with everyone.
And I'm able to see what people are doing, and it's inspiring to see people doing and being. The things that came at me and tried to push me down in life was in my 20s when my hearing started dipping. So I wasn't born deaf. For me, I had perfect hearing all the way up through school, through college. Probably a good thing because it would have been a lot harder to do some of the things I did without being able to move easily in the hearing world. But in my 20s, my hearing started dipping, and they didn't really know why. They thought it was related to the fact that I have a lot of ocular albinism in my family. Because apparently it's the hairs in my ears that don't move.
Oh,
you know, hairs that do this to sound. They bring the sound in. Mine stay still, they don't move. So I hear Charlie Brown, you know what I mean? That's what I hear. So I decided, I've had surgery, and that's how I'm able to have this conversation.
Wow,
But it took like years and years and years of being, I was deaf for years and years and years, and I'm still deaf. But it's just I'm able to move in the hearing community because of robot surgery. You know,
that's amazing. I would have had no idea. That's incredible. Oh my gosh.
I had to do a lot of work, you know, speech therapy. That's why sometimes I still talk in my nose. I still talk my nose really heavily because that's what I was used to doing for years. So I had speech therapy and, you know, just a lot of working on that. But losing my hearing was one of those things where you're in your 20s, you're at the prime, and the universe is like, guess what? We're about to make this 400 times harder for you. So, I mean, without getting like emotional, because I always get emotional. I mean, it was, I went through depression. You know,
understandably.
I had to, I had therapists on deck. Because there was only like two ways you could go with that. One is, my life is, you're 24, you're like, my life is over. When you're 24 and you're coming out of college, you had straight A's, you know, the world's about to say, here's platter, you.
Like, why me?
And it's like, guess what, psych, rug, pulled out. There's two ways you can go. One is, my life's over. And I'm just going to crawl up in a ball and give up and not do anything. And the other one is, wow, this sucks. Cry for a little bit. Mourn things, because mourning is okay. Grieving is okay. But then get the frick up and redefine what you want your life to look like. And that's what I had to do. Fine. I can't do this, but guess what? I can do this, 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 and this. So, and that's what I did. When I realized I couldn't do these things. Because I think people don't realize how many things in life require actual hearing.
Absolutely.
So I just leaned into the artistic side and the fitness thing, which I knew I was pretty good at making things and creating things. And I'm really good at you know, motivating people, like getting people to do things. So fitness was a natural fit for me. So that's what I had to do, but it wasn't without that internal. That was a lot of work done here because
Yeah,
it's
that's a
crazy. I
yeah,
fell
that's a
apart.
mountain. That's such a huge feat that you had to overcome. Oh my gosh, that's wild. And it reveals so much of your character too because like it's you're always so kind, you're down to earth, you're chill, you're open armed, welcoming, and meanwhile you're a titan in these different industries. Like you are the Wonder Woman for a lot of people, and you inspire so many people. So
Just kidding.
it's amazing that you are like you've hit like the bottom, further than a lot of other human beings have ever gone to, because like people might have be like financial stress, like maybe some injuries or whatever, but you had a thing that came out of nowhere, left field, even though you did everything right. This happened. So, and how you bounced back from that. So like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And it's that shows that so much humility and everything. So it's so good. And then
But that's where like when you were saying the things that knock you down, like that was something
yeah.
that definitely, I don't know, if it knocked me down for a bit, but I was like, now bitch, I'm standing back up.
Yeah.
And and then other things happen in life
Yeah.
that were with that like I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I lost my sister to cancer.
Wow.
It was like
Yeah.
over and over again. I was like, what's going on? But I think they say, life throws you things.
Yeah.
And it's your job. It's your job as a person who's been given life on this earth
Yeah.
to take whatever comes at you and literally just flip the bird and
Yeah.
stand up and be like, you know what? Not only am I going to do what I said I was going to do, I'm going to do it even freaking better now.
Yeah.
Watch me. I used to have this thing when I was competing back in fitness. Like I used to do fitness competitions. I used to talk at fitness camps and stuff like that. And I used to say that whenever I walked on stage, there's one thing that I would say to myself before, like to pull in and like give yourself confidence. Right when you walk on the stage, when you walk on, and right when you turn toward the audience, like just in your head, say to yourself, "Watch this."
Mm-hmm.
Like, and do that with everything in life, though.
What
Before you start, like literally say, just watch this.
What is your horoscope sign?
Almost like you've never seen this yet, and it just cheerlead yourself, and you get like woo, and I do that with everything.
What is your horoscope sign?
Pardon?
What is your horoscope sign? Like
horoscope?
Yeah, like Leo.
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius? Okay, right on. Yeah, because I was like I see that fire energy, that's like so good, That's like because I'm a Leo as well, and that's what I get whenever like I get down to the dumps. I'm like, no, I'm gonna show them, like I'm gonna I'm gonna make sure that we get this taken care of, because it's
you have
like
to cheer yourself on because no one's gonna cheer you
exactly.
on.
Yeah, it's such an important lesson, because a lot of time people will like seek validation in other people, or like the opinions of others matter so much to them, but at the end of the day it's what you think about yourself that really is important. And that's amazing to hear that you've gone through so much, and you've like always invested in yourself, like you've always had your back, and like that's so beautiful to hear. You're amazing, Alicia. Jesus.
So are you. But also saying that, by the way, because I'm ADHD, with brand new medical alert bracelets, so people who find me on the side of the road will know that I am a robot and won't throw me in something with I don't know. I just something came to mind. But in other words, it's also there's a lot of what do you call it? It's really rewarding to see like people or your friends like doing like really cool things. Like, it's like you feel like a proud mom.
Yeah.
Like,
a true genuine friend, to be like supportive instead of being like, I wish I had that opportunity, so it's like
it's very like Hollywood, very
LA.
That's very much like people are very much in competition with each other. People are very much clout chasing and stuff like that. And man, I'm like, we are going to,
life is too short.
All of us one day are gonna die. Guess what? You might as well like just go after the things you want to go after. Focus on the things that make you happy. Focus on yourself. Do your things. Have
Don't
fun
worry
with
what
friends.
other people are doing. Yeah.
Like drink a glass of wine or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've come to a very and I don't know. I feel like it's taken me like a life journey to get to this point where
it's true. It's you can't learn this from a book, or you can't learn this from a movie or anything like that. You really have to go through the hardships and then get that hard-earned wisdom and be like, I understand now, you know? So it's like, oh, it's so good. And then, okay,
It is,
so
man.
pivoting to the other end of the spectrum,
Yes.
I know that you have a like legion of W's under your belt and wins. So, what is your most like your proudest accomplishment? Whether it be in fitness, cosplay, as a geek, as a human being, which I'm pretty sure the bounce back is like a major W in your book. But like, was what
Mhm.
would you consider the thing that you are so proud of?
You know, it's something I'm really. It used to be the book. It used
Yeah,
to be the book that was mine, but now I'm gonna have to say like it's my relationship with like companies like Warner Brothers. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
those
I worked
big
really hard to
brands.
be able to like the
Yeah,
fact that like it's like I can sit and tear myself up, which I do.
yeah,
Like I can sit and then I can get so bad in my own head that I'll be sitting in my bed like, ugh, and then I'm like, you're an idiot. What are you doing?
hmm,
Your brain can convince you of so many things. You
yeah,
often wonder yourself, why does your brain work against you?
hmm,
You're just trying to live out here, and your brain is like, guess
yeah,
what? Everyone hates you, and they think you're
yeah.
disgusting.
Who
Like
told
your
me that I
brain
couldn't
is
do this? Yeah.
always conspiring against you. It's unbelievable.
Mhm.
So when I think about the fact that a company that like when I sit, if I sit and like to start like tearing myself up,
Yeah,
I cannot tear up the fact that I made some things and a company like Warner Brothers notices and puts
yeah,
me under a contract to work on costumes with them.
yeah. Like, how can you deny your worth when you see that? Yeah.
That is for me like whenever I think to myself that I'm not worth anything, I do think to myself, I'm like, no, you did some good things, Alicia.
Yeah, it's true. That's such a great idea because I do the same thing with like I it's supposed to be a vision board, okay? But it's like now a good vibes board where I keep a lot of moments that I am really proud of. That way, when I get down in the dumps and think about that, because I feel like on a real talk, we are people of color, so a lot of times we have to
Mm-hmm.
work 3 times as hard as our fair skinned
Mm-hmm.
like
Yep.
peers and everything, and it's hard. It's like smothering to think about those thoughts about like, oh, if I was only so like fairer skinned or like X, Y, and Z, could I be more successful? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like, so it's good to have those like grounding moments to really look and see like, oh, I'm definitely worthwhile because this happened, that happened, that happened. So it's like it's cool that you
Mm-hmm.
it's wonderful to hear that you have a method to check out all those things and those accomplishments like the Warner Brothers, like seeing the Storm cosplay
Mortal
tutorial on
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat and like the BuzzFeed stuff and the cosplay stuff and all these major accomplishments that like even if someone did one of those things they'd be like, I'm done, that's my greatest accomplishment, I can die happy. But you're like, that's my Tuesday, and then like that's just like do all these things, so it's amazing. And like
That is
I know
awesome,
you
yeah.
mentioned your book, and but could you please speak about your book and like give us the pitch, give us the elevator pitch. What is it? Where can we find it? How can we buy it? And everything.
Oh my God, no. Here's the thing about nonfiction. Like
Yeah,
fiction to me is evergreen, and in general, I think fiction's evergreen. But with nonfiction,
yeah,
things like books, cooking elements, especially with fitness,
yeah,
things are always changing. So fitness books, like I don't want to say it's outdated, but for me, it's outdated. Like
yeah.
if I wanted to,
Booty Bible. It is on Amazon, and if you could write another book today, it would be on new material because
yeah, I would just be updating
which
it. I mean, I did. Yeah, I did a DVD series called The 30-Day Butt Lift.
yeah,
That's Amazon too, and it's like series of whatever videos, series of videos on and that one's actually really good because when I created that routine, I did it with another friend of mine named Courtney Marie.
yeah.
No relation whatsoever, but it sounds weird. Alicia Marie and Courtney Marie. Oh my
I
God, that it was not on purpose.
yeah,
That's what she goes by. But that one's actually, I mean, like I said, everything still stands. It's
yeah,
just fitness is always changing and growing, just like
yeah.
nutrition, everything, things that you learn and know, change, update, etc. So those things were both on Amazon. But
Oh, that's amazing. That's super
I'm
cool.
gonna do more fitness stuff because I just need to get back in the studio. I took a
Yeah,
long break because of cancer, but
yeah,
now I'm sort of like we're getting out of moving into hopefully the good phase, couple phase
yeah.
of the
Exactly.
pandemic, and I can do more, get studio going and do more fitness stuff.
That next
Hopefully.
venture. That like, oh, that's so cool. Got to write the Tales of Astra. Your Dungeons
Yeah,
and Dragons character.
no. Oh, but one thing I wanted to bring up before I forget
Go for it. Go for it.
is it actually just piggybacks on what we were talking about a few minutes ago
Yeah.
about having like little techniques that you use to get your brain out of the valley.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were talking about the ups when you're like, yeah, I did good. I feel
Yeah.
good with myself in the
In the
valley.
pits and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, like you kind of do have to you can't ignore those things because
Yeah.
they can overtake you. And everything that so that 99% of the things you're thinking bad about yourself are not real. They actually don't exist. It's fake. It's just your brain trying to convince you. It must be some sort of like survival mechanism to make you think you're crap. I don't know, but it's not real.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying you suck. Nobody's like conspiring against you, you know, in life. I remember I used to work with when I was in fitness, like in New York City back in the day, I used to specifically work with people who are clinically obese. So people
Yeah.
who did have to lose, oh, I'm in Beverly Hills, I have to lose like 5 pounds. No, I work with people who had to lose like 150,
Yeah, for
100,
medical
150
reasons.
pounds.
Yeah.
And and a lot of them, remember, we would start out of the gym and then move to the gym. And I remember I had one client who had lost like 45 pounds and she wanted to lose like another 60. So we're singing in the locker room. And I was like, we're going to go in and we're going to start just walking on the treadmill. That's it. And she was having like panic attacks. And I was like, so I sat down next to her on the bench and she's like, I can't leave this locker. I can't leave the locker room. And I was like, you're going to be with me. They're out there doing their workout stuff. We're going to get on that treadmill. We're going to walk just next to each other. That's it. And we'd done all this stuff previously out of the gym. But she was like, I can't do it because what if I'm on that treadmill and everybody out there is silently judging me? And in that moment, I saw sort of all of us. Like how I was like, there is nobody in this gym. Who cares what she's doing on that treadmill? But her brain has convinced her that everybody is. And I was not able to get her out of that locker room.
Yeah.
And even everything I know about, like, you know, working with people who are in the clinical definition
Yeah.
of being overweight, like there's a huge X factor. It's not just eating less and working out. There's a whole thing up here that you have to work with. And I just remember everything I know, I still couldn't get her because she had convinced herself that she'll be out there on that treadmill and people will be like, but to be honest with you, I've worked in gyms all my life. People don't even like really care what anybody else is doing.
Yeah, they're so focused on like nowadays their podcasts or like Netflix or like whatever. They don't. It's even more like less of their awareness.
They're not. They're really, really.
And it's.
But she was very, very. It was crippling. She couldn't leave the locker room to get into the gym. So I see in her. I saw how all of us can literally talk ourselves from doing everything. We can talk ourselves out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You have to grab that and figure out how to work out of those valleys.
Yeah,
those lows are low.
Yeah, it's almost like we're seeking stuff for people to validate our insecurities. For like, even though we might have people saying like you're beautiful, you know, you're talented, you're creative, and so, but if one person says like, you know, oh, you kind of like suck at this, or like, oh, I hate the way you do this, you only like hyper focus on those negative things. Yeah, exactly. So it's wild, and you're like, there's no logical reason, there's no rational reason why we should ever do this, but we can't help it. That's why I've always like in my life I always surrounded myself around like negative people for like this stupid thought that like maybe if I hang around the people who like don't like me, I can convince them to like me, and or they can tell me what's wrong with me, and then and I can fix myself. But that's like a broken system because they don't know what's I'm not even like broken in the first place. We're all whole and we're all worthy. We need to convince ourselves. We need to realize that. So it's I always
have to work on it.
Yeah, and I love what you do.
As soon as you see those thoughts coming in, like, and I work on this all the time.
Yeah.
As soon as I see them coming in, I have got to stop it because like my friends are so used to seeing me going, oh God, I suck. And then I'm like, wait, what am I doing to myself?
Mm-hmm.
It can keep you from doing the things that you are meant to do in this life. Doubt is just a killer. There are things you're supposed to be doing that you're not because your brain has convinced you can't do.
Exactly. Like even the most recent example is the Tales of Xadia thing when Utahime is like, yo, homie, we got this. Like, can you dungeon master it? Do you think you could do it? And I'm like, yeah, I could totally do that. And it's like, okay, cool. And then yeah. And I had to like learn the new system. And then I had to watch, I watched the Tales of Xadia stream that like Cortex did on their fandom page, and I was like, oh my god, I hope I'm as good, like at least like I don't hope I don't mess up or anything like that. And I was so worried, like even to the point where I almost like literally texted Utahime and like didn't send it, but I was like, I think I don't know if I can do this, and like it's like total self-doubt moment. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't do that, so I had to delete it, and I was like, just do it. And then like, oh my god, and it went well, like there wasn't a moment in there that I was like, man, I totally effed that up. Yeah, it was just like fun, and like God, it's just so wild that these
Yeah,
things
you
happen.
destroyed that. You did so well, and I actually had people write to me. I told you telling me this that
Yeah.
that people were writing to me telling me how good you are.
Oh,
Hmm.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's every one of us. You know, it happens to every single one of us that it's normal, and yet we paint the picture that this is only affecting D'Angelo, or like this is only affecting Alicia. Like no one else in the world has to go through this. They're all perfect. They have all strong thoughts. You
They're all
know.
perfect. Their lives are
Yeah,
perfect.
exactly. Yeah, and then we're the only ones that are like broken. When that's like, oh, it's just so wild. So
It is. It's like a little bit like where you have to, but those thoughts
yeah,
start coming in. You have to think about how ridiculous they are. Not to keep going on this, but I
yeah,
had a boyfriend once. Like even though like everybody has their exes and everybody hates
yeah,
their exes or doesn't hate their exes, I don't know.
yeah,
I try to learn something from, like you said, from everything. You try
yeah.
to learn something, and I've found that in all of my bad like romantic relationships, I've taken one nugget of something
Wisdom or something like that.
that I
Yeah,
keep one nugget, whether it'd be good or just a learning thing. And one guy was happened to be an athlete,
yeah,
and he said, you know, and this was something he said back in the day. He's
yeah,
like, I would be out there in the field, whatever, and I would hear 40,000 people like cheering my name,
yeah.
cheering, and like I'd be running out in the field and people would be like, yeah, woo. He said I would hear one person boo, and I would focus right on that person. And he's like, he said later on, I would think to myself, why am I focusing on the
Yeah,
one person who's booing when 500 people are telling me?
yeah.
And so I think about when he said that, and I'm like, you know what? That's true. We all
Mm-hmm.
do that.
And it's never like it's not us. It's like oftentimes people are projecting, you know, onto us their own insecurity. So it's like it's wild, you know. And so it's like you can dwell all
Let
you
it
want, but
go.
you'll never find the answers. So it's so crazy. Okay, all right. Going to the next question. So what geeky passions fueled you in your creativity that made you who you are today? You mentioned comic books like, She-Hulk and all these different things like Wonder Woman and everything. And I know that there's some anime influence. Is that correct?
But I didn't really get deep into anime
Yeah.
until I met you guys. So until I met Tammy and Andrew,
Yeah.
that's because I knew like the older anime,
Yeah.
because I thought they were just interesting. But I didn't get deep into it until like I discovered like Food Wars and stuff. Food
Oh,
Wars
right
really
on.
dragged me in.
Yeah.
It's amazing though, and the whole everything, the whole Fate series, forget it, is amazing to me. Everything.
Yeah.
Fate Zero, Apocrypha, all of them.
I still gotta
Blade
start that
Works,
one. I just don't know where to start, so I have to like figure that out.
Start
But
with
like
Zero.
zero? Okay, okay.
I started with Unlimited Blade Works,
Yeah.
and I wish I had started with Zero, because I watched it. So I watched Unlimited Blade Works, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's like 4 episodes where I was like, what am I watching right now?
Yeah.
And I stuck it out because it was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But then I watched Zero, and I was like, oh, I should have watched
the prequel.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have to check that out because it's I've heard it's amazing. So you said comic books is your major like inspiration for everything. Is that correct?
What'd you say?
So comic books you would say is like your major geeky passion, or is there anything else like?
Well,
Go for it.
it was if I'm honest, it's more artwork.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
it's
Okay.
artwork, meaning comic book artwork,
Yeah.
video game artwork. I like how artists depict females and how
Yeah.
they're drawn. I loved how comic book depicts females. I liked how when you look at I watch He-Man too and stuff like that. I like
The
how
exaggerated
artistry.
features. Yeah.
It was always artistry. It was always artistry first.
Yeah.
And then when I started playing games for myself, it becomes even more like, oh, I like this character and I like how she's drawn. I'm gonna become her tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's what it always was. Yeah.
Like
and it's
Melina
just fun. And it's
yeah.
funny because like in the beginning I said people were like embarrassed. They said I was embarrassing in the beginning, but then cosplay, it became a thing.
Yeah.
So now it's people start
You
appreciating.
were just ahead of the
it, and
curve.
It's like,
Yeah. That's amazing.
it's not Halloween. Halloween was 9 months ago.
Yeah.
You remember
Little.
the old stuff.
Yeah. Little did they know. It's amazing. So
Little
okay.
did you know I've been wearing this to bed too.
Yeah, right? There you go. And making money from it. So it's good stuff. Okay, so let's say you could go back in time, whether it be to 24-year-old Alicia or the little Alicia or anything like that in your deepest and darkest moment, and you could stand next to yourself in that time at your darkest time, and what advice would you say to yourself to be like, Alicia, listen, your life is hard and I get that. It's going to get even harder, but this is the wisdom I want to give you to make your journey a little bit easier. What would you say to yourself?
Why do you do this to me? I'm a big crybaby. Oh God, I'm a big crybaby. Why do you do this?
This is your
to
space.
me?
This is a safe space. Be yourself. Go for it.
Oh God, I'm trying to think of like the moment that there are a bunch of trite things you could say to yourself, of course.
Yeah.
But I think, to be honest with you, it would be a lot of the stuff that I said in this interview. I think I'd have to go back to the which Alicia would I want to go back to? Oh gosh, okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to go all the way back to 7-year-old Alicia,
Yeah.
who was the only, child of color in an entire like school, kindergarten through 8th grade.
Those feels, yeah.
And that would definitely just be like, one day none of these people are gonna matter, like not even at all.
Yeah, you'll never think
they're not
about
gonna
them,
in fact they're gonna come to you and be like, well damn. I would literally, because I remember at that age, I remember thinking like I was that young when I was like, why do I even exist?
Yeah.
From this. So I think it would be that young, or I'd have to be
Yeah.
like, I would literally kneel down and be like, none of these people are going to matter at all.
Yeah.
One day, like at all. So just get through school because you have a lot
day by
waiting
day
for you.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Because I spent a lot of time crying and a lot of time upset when I was younger, because I was the only kid of color in an entire school, so it was now, and then I was geeky and weird too.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I was a perfect storm of a disaster of a little kid, and I was gawky and skinny and weird, and I hadn't grown into my facial features yet.
Yeah.
So everything was really like, everything was really angular and bizarre. I was just a bizarre looking kid. So yeah, that's it would just be like gentle words of encouragement, but that would be like, I'd be like, honey, please look at this little place, this little town, honey.
We're gonna be fit and author. We're gonna play Dungeons and Dragons, and people are gonna love it. And then,
so girlfriend,
take
my hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, legitimately, because like all the things you've accomplished in your life is amazing. So it's like,
thank you.
Okay, actually, I'll save the next bit of like words I was gonna say for after this next question. So, where can we find you online?
Okay. You can find me Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. I think I'm still Alicia Marie Body or Alicia Marie Live, one of the two. Because I haven't done Twitch in a long time. Like I said, I took a moment off to take care of health issues, and I'm gonna get a new studio. But I'll announce when I come back. I'm hoping I do it this year, but it's all studio related. But otherwise, it's Alicia Marie Body everywhere. And I'm usually talking about random weird stuff I found on the internet because I love looking for weird stuff.
I like your Twitter posts. Like, they're super, super good. I was like, a man got dissolved in Yellowstone? Oh, my God. Next D&D campaign.
You can dissolve bodies in Yellowstone?
Yeah.
And like, are you taking notes, Alicia? I'm like, no, of course not.
And the beans dice, when you like shared the D&D dice that were like beans, I was like, oh, that's amazing. So it's like, it's good content, It's like amazing.
And then Instagram, like, I mean, picture stuff, but I want to, and on TikTok as well, even though I'm really bad on TikTok, I need to get better. I need to get good when I feel like it. I'm not rushing myself to freaking
Yeah.
Then Twitch, but so Alicia Marie Body most, or Alicia Marie Live on Twitch.
That's amazing. Okay. So, I don't think you've ever seen one of my interviews, and that's totally okay. But at the end of every interview, I like to take a real moment to just talk with you. So for the next couple minutes, you're not allowed to deny anything or refute anything or like rebuke anything or anything like that. So I want to say this. I'm going to take a real moment to be genuine with you. So, Alicia, I've seen your work for years and years and years and years, and you've been a huge inspiration for me, not only as like a cosplayer and an artist, but also as a person of color, because to see someone with a darker skin tone thrive in industries, like multiple industries that are dominated by fairer skins, you're a beacon of hope for me and a lot of other people. And getting to get to know you over these past few months has been such a blessing to me, like wholeheartedly, because you are such a kind, you are creative, you are down to earth. When hard things happen, you handle it with such grace and beauty, like of a queen, legitimately, where you like you're so wonderful in every single way, and hearing how much you've come like accomplished over your career and life, just like it's I'm beside myself with pride in you. And like I cannot believe, one, you're in my life, you're in this community, you're such a great person, so I want to thank you. I want to take a moment to thank you for, one, being my friend, being alive, and overcoming all of these things, because you've changed so many lives, including mine. And Utahime could probably attest to this as well and everything. So thank you so much for being you, and you're amazing and wonderful.
Oh God, please. Thank you.
Of course.
I really hate you all.
This is just a lot of times in life, we don't get the roses until after we're 6 feet under. So I always try my best to give people their just desserts, and you've accomplished so much. So I want to give you that good stuff. So you're amazing and awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course.
Oh God, I'm gonna jump out a window right now.
No, don't do that. You're super
I did
cool.
my makeup today, D'Angelo.
It's beautiful, on point, super, super good. And then, okay,
Thank you.
I want to thank you again for being here and answering a few of our questions. I am so amazed by you, and you're incredible and everything. Make sure to follow Alicia on all of her social medias. She's accomplished so much. You can watch her on Fatal 42. There's a lot of charity events coming up that she's going to be participating in and everything. And it's good stuff. Oh, those glasses, those are awesome.
Favorites. Keep going. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So definitely check her out. She's amazing. And